What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Nalo Kicking Knowledge. Today was July 24th. Yesterday was the start of Leo season. Who let the lions out? But shout out to all my Leos, man. It's the season of the sun. It's time to feel good. It's really time to feel good. Now, with our Sun through Sign series, we are at the fourth sign of the zodiac, the Cancers, also known as the crybabies. Nah, I don't like that. I don't like any of the misconceptions with astrology. Alright? So, we're about to debunk this myth of Cancers being crybabies and really try to understand who these Cancers are and why they're here. Now, if you've been paying attention, you'll see that so far we've covered Aries, a fire sign, dealing with taking action, having courage, establishing or realizing oneself as the I am. We've had Taurus, an earth sign, really dealing with gathering possessions to help us survive. But the gist is to really define a clear-cut value system. Alright? Don't succumb to greed. Realize what has the true value in life. Gemini, an air sign, who we're dealing with the communication of ideas here, the communication of knowledge. Gemini's task is not to get trapped inside their mind and play to the lower self, which has a whole set of other ramifications. Now, we're at Cancer. We're in the water, the emotions. Alright? Now, Cancer is ruled by Moon. And if the sun is in Cancer, that means sun is being ruled by Moon. Sun relates to the heart. Alright? Cancer relates to the home. Couple that with the phrase or the saying, home is where the heart is. And you start to see the idea of why Cancer is here. Cancer is here to establish a foundation, an emotional foundation, a spiritual foundation. Now, within these different elements, we operate at that level. So Cancer is in, or I should say, operating at the emotional level. You could really call it the soul level, because houses, the water houses 4, 8, and 12 are all soul level houses, non-physical things. All right. So Cancer's here to establish its foundation, its home life. Okay, it's here to connect with the goddess energy here, the feminine principle, emotions that guide us. Now, with that being said, sun, which is our confidence, which is our vitality, which is our soul, okay, and represents our true purpose. With it being here, being ruled by Moon, I don't want to say Sun and Moon are enemies, but on a higher level, let's just say they're opposites. Alright? So Sun doesn't do well being ruled under the rulership of the Moon, because Sun doesn't really want to deal with emotions and the things that Cancer represents, which is the home life and nurturing others. But it doesn't mean it's not capable of it. This is just why these emotions are so difficult to deal with. because it's not the natural thing that sun wants to be doing. It's its opposite, right? And also, moon represents the mind. So the sun is being forced to perceive things or go about things through that filter of the moon. So these guys tend to be very engulfed in, depending on the family, all right? Now, majority of the times, Cancer, they adapt the identity of their family, okay? They're not very much individuals in the beginning. They're connected to the family and buy into what the family's heritage is. And they need to break through life, they need to break away from that. Because one thing about family, which is good, but is, too much of anything isn't good, is that it provides a safe haven for us, or should. So this is how it goes for Cancer. If a Cancer is born into a very, very loving family, that is great for them, but it can also be bad, depending on how the chart is set up and how that person's ambition is. Because the good part is that the emotions are being nurtured, and they're learning very much so how to express themselves in that emotional nature, okay, and how to care for others and things like that. But they can become too stagnant in that environment, right? Now, not only is Cancer supposed to establish its own home foundation, but the moon protects the earth, is very much an overseer of the earth, all right? And every mother is a protector of their child. Fathers too, but the mom's protection, it's much more, it's deeper, okay, at that emotional level. Now, on a grand scale, that's another thing what Cancer's here to do. Cancer's here to protect the world and the people in it. At their highest potential, they heal others in many ways. In many ways, they can heal others. And what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at Robin Williams, the comedian and actor who committed suicide a couple years ago. He was a Cancer. And he's actually a Cancer sun, a Pisces moon, and a Scorpio rising. All right, we'll get to that in a few. But you nurture others in a multitude of ways. Okay, it can be through your sense of humor. If you have, say you have a good Mercury or airy moon, it can be through your communication. But at your highest potential, you're affecting the world and nurturing and protecting the world. Just like Gemini at its highest potential is, a source of spiritual information. You guys, Cancers being, are a source for protection and to heal others. The problem with Cancer, it's hard because it says it's sun here, and sun doesn't naturally filter out things the way that moon does. So the emotions can become overwhelming, very overwhelming, and Cancers are prone to being very moody and depressed easily. And part of this is because Cancers are also receptive, okay? They're receptive. They pick up a lot from their environment. So if if Cancer is in houses 4, 8, or 12, yeah, this is the start. We can see somebody who has potential to be very empathetic, okay, very compassionate, but they have to establish an emotional balance. They have to understand that the emotions that they feel may not always be theirs. So there has to be a way to learn how to protect oneself from picking up so many other energies. And the best way to do that, believe it or not, is one, constantly be around water. I suggest for people with heavy water signs in their charts, I really suggest you living by an ocean, making swimming a part of your routine. It's just, water is refreshing. It renews the spirit. All right, and that can really help water signs, especially those who have houses 4, 8, and 12 ruled by water signs. Now, another thing with Cancer is that they tend to get very attached to individuals, friends, partners, of course, family. And another part of their progression is letting go. Establishing that, but letting go. And you're going to see letting go, or we can say sacrifice, as a huge theme within this. A huge theme. Because ultimately, to reach that higher level of self, you got to let go of the attachment to the lower one. Now, for Cancer, this is just in the form of familiarity. All right? And Cancer's a cardinal sign. So they are very much about change, but family-wise and friends-wise and partner-wise, when they let you into their home, taking off the shell and let you see them, they have a hard time letting go. And also, Cancer is, in the moon, is connected to the past. All right? The moon is said to govern the memories of our past lives and things of that nature. And Cancer is just naturally inclined to the past. These guys get a lot of comfort from reminiscing. And that can stop you from progressing forward. It's a huge concept that you have to live in the now. And living in the now really helps you not dwell on wounds of the past. And Cancer, early in their life, before they actually realize they need to put up this shell, they get hurt a lot because they give so much of themselves. Now, another thing with these guys is that the shell. Let's talk about the shell. The shell comes in so many different forms. It's amazing to me. Now, just off my head, I believe, like I said, Robin Williams, Kevin Hart, and Bill Cosby are all Cancers. And those are all 3 funny men. All right? Now, their shells, their defensive shells, come in the form of laughter, comedy. All right? That defense mechanism is to make others laugh. Kevin Hart named one of his stand-up specials, Laugh at My Pain. And if you've ever watched the interview with the dude and talking about his success and where he's came from, he can't help but get emotional. Yeah, for real. It's a cool thing. Humility is a beautiful thing to see in people, man. For real. So, if you know anything about comedians, you know they all have a dark side. And it's evident with Robin Williams, and we're seeing Bill's dark side was something else. And but Kevin Hart, he also says, man, like I have nothing to be angry about in life. Like life is good, and you can just tell when a person's been through a lot, and they appreciate peace and harmony in all facets of life. But Cancers put up this show, and these guys, their particular show was in the form of comedy. Then, you have a dude like 50 Cent. 50 Cent, big diesel guy. One of the real tough guys in rap. One of the few real tough guys in rap, actually. But a lot of his girlfriends have said that he's completely different behind doors. He's actually a bit of a softie, and I'm not surprised. And now that I'm bringing up 50, I'd like to make a point about how through conflict or real pain, we can not only find our inner strength, but it forces us. It forces us to move on and change. All right. 50, I don't think he ever knew his father. All right. As far as he knew, he always just had his mom, and his mom was murdered. His mom was murdered at a young age. Now just imagine that. A son in Cancer, losing his mother as a child when he still needs that nurturing. Okay? If you ever watch Get Rich or Die Trying, you'll see that he was then forced into a situation where he had to very much so grow up on his own. He was out there alone in the world. All right? Let's just say, had 50 Cent not lost his mother and never knew his father, he could have been comfortable and never developed that hustler's ambition. And that's another thing about these Cancers. Cancers, as you know, the moon is exalted in Taurus. And another reason why the moon is exalted in Taurus is because moon, which is the mind, and Taurus, which is, collecting things, wanting to have possessions, crave security. So Cancer craves emotional security, where Taurus craves material security. But Cancer's emotional security leads them to wanting to have security on all levels. I don't know if that made any sense. Like, they have a need. Their need for security is motivated by emotions, and those emotions propel them to provide themselves with security on all levels. Cancers are very much so hard workers and will work to provide themselves with that security. All right, and overall, the energy of Cancer at its highest level is just very transformative and very psychic and receptive. All right, the evolved Cancer, when Cancer evolves, the planet that you should look at in your chart to see what's going on is Neptune. Neptune, and you'll see, because Neptune is that psychic planet. All right, it is that very much watery planet, and once Cancer reaches a certain level of spiritual development, Neptune infuses its control into them, and Neptune, I'm telling you, should be viewed as not part of the karmic cycle, but really as all of this. Neptune is your world, in layman's terms, and you dictate how you set up your world. All right, so I'm gonna get into this horoscope because I don't want to run out of time. Now, just to recap real quick, we said that Cancer needs to develop